Hello, Sebastian here. Get off to a fast start. Notice I'm hearing a lot of flack on walking in restaurants and at school about people basically that we all know Michael Jackson died and it was terrible. He's king of pop, probably one of the best artists of all time, and it's not even a probably he is the best of artists of all time. But I hear a lot of people saying they're getting annoyed about hearing him and you know his music and that sort of deal, and basically saying that it's getting kind of annoying now because they don't want people don't want to hear about it anymore. There's other important things going on in the world, according to some people. That's understandable, but be very careful. There is a lot of Michael Jackson fans out there. Because I mean, he's a legend. He's obviously the best person of all time. People were surprised by his death because he was fine just a minute ago. He bleached his face, and anytime you put a chemical on your body like bleach, it's gonna happen to you anyway. So it was already coming for him. But at the same time, it's just if somebody had or some racist dude saying, "Well, he listen, little boys, it's good his day." What I mean, you know why he living like that. And that day, say, okay, man. I think I told him just like this. I said, okay, man. I pray for you, man. I really do. Say, I'm a Christian man. I'm like, I'm so you're not very Christian. If you're gonna talk about, I'm glad someone's dead. Okay, we don't say that kind of stuff. All right, if you're Christian, or even if you aren't Christian, you still don't say stuff like that. But he's a legend. He must be respected. He did Thriller. Okay, he did Thriller. He's done numerous other videos. He's got one of the best miking techniques of all time, according to some producers that Michael Jackson worked with. I have no idea what exactly what record company he produced from. I kind of sound like an idiot on that point, but he knows his moves. He knows how to get the ladies going and that sort of deal. And some people gotta get past the fact that he may have had little boys sleeping in his bed or girls, whatever the situation was, and people might have thought that was strange, but we all gotta get past that. If you're a true Michael Jackson fan, you kind of see past that, and don't get this all high rate. Oh, there's other important things going on in the world. Of course there is. I mean, they still talk about the war and what's going on in Iran, right? And supposed upcoming North Korea war. So obviously we're not just throwing that out the window, But it's about time Americans see something other than that has nothing to do with crime, has nothing to do with a black person robbing somebody or a Spanish person robbing somebody. It's about time we see something that actually has music and entertainment performance, even on national TV. So I think anybody who said that is very irrelevant to kind of put Michael Jackson down and saying that we don't want to hear nothing about him and we want to hear something else about the war, what's going on with the water supply. I said those are very important topics too. But when you're dealing with a legend like Michael Jackson, you kind of want to spend a little bit of time to get to know him a little bit. People might not be Michael Jackson fans that may have wanted to, maybe just now getting to become the Michael Jackson fan. That's something you want to get to know him, his personal life. And one of the things I want to bring up to you that's going to stick a knife in some people's hearts is that remember his parents never let him be a kid. Okay, they restricted him just like my parents restricted me from being able to date the girls I wanted to date, and they pretty much pull that same stuff with him. So kind of putting you guys, anybody who's a Michael Jackson fan want to say something bad about him or against Michael Jackson that's not a fan, just want to put you anybody in their place basically on that point. So that's pretty much that in kind of a nutshell about him and that sort of deal. Getting off the Michael Jackson topic, it's funny how when people are homeless and you try to give them, I guess, the money for something, like you see somebody struggling. Like I saw an old lady tonight actually, between Red Lobster, Smoky Bones, and a copy car. The lady, like she was about 75 years old, and I saw her just sitting there, looking helpless. And I just, I don't like seeing people struggle. I mean, you have people say homeless people say, oh, why should we care about homeless people? And they need to learn how to get a job. But this lady obviously sounded like she just lost her home. Just by looking at her and stuff she brought with her. I don't know what's in there, but what she brought with her. But I'm pretty sure everything in her life possessions gone with her. And I went to the Steak Shake. Got myself a Red Bull. Came out, wanted to give her too much. Like, no, thank you. And I'm not trying to judge this woman, but it seems that she gave me that look because I'm dark skinned, Latino over here. Okay, I mean, and she kind of gave me a look like she was discriminating. You ever had somebody that's very racist that said something racist to you, but or maybe didn't want to say something racist, but they gave you that kind of like that really skeptical look, like they're angry, like they just want to go ahead and just tell you to get the f out my face, and you this and that. Well, that's what she kind of had a look on her face. I looked at her like, lady, I obviously see that you're in trouble, and I'm not trying to cause any problems or try to start nothing in any way. I just want to make sure you're okay. And there's been a lot of homeless people that do that. You have some homeless people where they'll tell you all of a sudden when you don't want to give them something. Oh, you're a piece of crap. Why don't you should want, we're all struggling and this and that. I told it was one homeless dude that told me that because I couldn't give him $1 or two. I was really poor at the time. I needed to pay a bill, and he's all like, "No, man, we all struggling. We all struggling." Like, dude, we don't all. You gotta be very careful of how you say we're all struggling, because we're all not struggling on the same level. To some degree, some of us are struggling. Worse than others. There's some people that the situation not even about struggling. There's financial trouble and they can't get no money. Period. Okay, that's they're struggling, and there's people that can make it financially, but they constantly gotta keep taking a penalty of their savings because they gotta keep constantly paying bills because they're over purchased on spending electronics and stuff like that. So that's another thing. And to me, as a homeless person, if anytime somebody gives you something, you better appreciate it. Don't be as discriminative. Don't give somebody a dirty look if somebody just gives you money for something. Just freaking take the money. And people with that, and to some of you homeless people out there who basically don't like, can't handle the same. People give you a no to an answer. You gotta understand that's a motivation for you to get off your ass, okay, and get a job, or try to find some kind of program that's gonna help you get off the street. Because trust me, these streets are dangerous. Especially on Colonial, man, you face a possibility of getting stabbed, killed, and any of that sort of deal. So I mean, you don't want to be out there in that particular environment. So instead of discriminating against people helping you or people who can't help you, take that as a motivational way of trying to change your life and get out of the situation you're in. But anyway, that's the end of my topic there. Subscribe, and I will see you later. Sebastiani signing off.